You've probably been told that eating sardines or eggs is all you need to keep your muscles strong as you get older. It sounds simple, right? But here's the truth. After more than 20 years of working with patients here in the US, I can tell you that advice is dead wrong. I've seen countless men and women over 60 lose muscle strength, not because they stopped exercising, but because they trusted that old myth. The shocking reality is this. As we age, our bodies simply don't absorb protein the same way. So even if you're piling your plate with muscle foods you thought were enough, your body could still be starving for the very nutrients it needs to fight muscle loss. That's why so many people are left frustrated, weaker, and more tired year after year. Now, here's why you'll want to stick with me through the entire video. I'm about to reveal 4 powerful, protein-rich foods that are far more effective than sardines when it comes to protecting your muscles. These are everyday foods, many of them canned, affordable, and sitting right on your grocery shelf. But their impact on muscle health is something most people have never heard about. And it doesn't stop there. I'll also expose a hidden enemy, a food many older adults eat every single week, that quietly destroys your muscles meal by meal. If you miss that part, you could undo all your hard work with just one bite. So stay tuned, because what you're about to learn could completely change the way you eat, the way you move, and the way you age. And by the way, if you'd like to follow along or take notes, I've added a simple outline in the description below this video. That way you can come back, review the key points, and start applying them right away. As we get older, one of the biggest mistakes I see is believing that a little bit of protein here and there is enough to keep our muscles strong. Maybe you've heard it too, that eating a couple of sardines or an egg or two each day will do the job. It sounds reasonable, almost comforting. But here's the hard truth. For people over 60, it simply doesn't work that way. Research here in the US shows that older adults need at least 100 grams of protein every single day just to maintain healthy muscle. Think about that for a second. One small can of sardines only gives you around 20 grams of protein. That means you'd need to eat 5 cans a day, every day, just to hit the minimum. Now, I don't know about you, but most people would never sit down and eat 5 cans of sardines. It's just not realistic. And this is where the hidden danger lies. We think we're giving our bodies what they need, but in reality, it's far from enough. It's kind of like trying to put out a raging fire with just one bucket of water. You might feel like you're doing something useful, but the flames are still spreading, and the fire is still winning. That's exactly how muscle loss works as we age. Slow, quiet, and relentless if we don't fuel our bodies properly. And here's the part most people never realize. Muscle loss isn't just about looking weaker. It affects balance, independence, even the ability to get up from a chair or carry groceries. So when protein needs aren't met, it's not only your muscles that suffer, it's your freedom, your energy, and your quality of life. So the real question becomes, what's the solution? If sardines and eggs aren't enough, where should we turn? The good news is, there are foods that are not only higher in protein, but also packed with extra nutrients that help protect your muscles as you age. And the best part? They're simple, affordable, and convenient. Let's take a look at the first one. When most people think about protein, mushrooms aren't usually the first thing that comes to mind. We tend to picture steak, chicken, or maybe a plate of scrambled eggs. But mushrooms, these humble little treasures from the earth, have been called nature's meat for a reason. And once you understand what they can do for your body, you might never look at them the same way again. Now, are mushrooms the highest source of protein out there? Not exactly. But here's the beautiful thing. They give you a steady, gentle boost of protein, along with something most animal proteins simply don't offer. A whole package of antioxidants, B vitamins, and minerals that protect your muscles in ways protein alone never could. It's like getting a bonus every time you add them to your plate. You see, one of the biggest issues with aging muscles isn't just protein deficiency, it's inflammation. Low-grade inflammation quietly eats away at strength, slows recovery, and leaves you feeling sore or stiff after the simplest activity. Mushrooms contain compounds that calm this inflammation down. They act almost like little firefighters, cooling off the embers so your muscles can recover and rebuild more efficiently. Let me share a story. A patient of mine in California, a 68-year-old woman, came to me with high cholesterol and persistent weakness in her legs. She loved red meat, but her doctor had warned her to cut back. Instead of giving up protein altogether, I suggested she try replacing some of her red meat meals with mushrooms, just 3 times a week. Within a few months, her cholesterol levels dropped noticeably, and she reported something even more exciting. She could climb stairs without feeling like her legs were giving out. Her muscles weren't just holding on, they were getting stronger. That's the magic of mushrooms. They don't overwhelm you with one thing. Instead, they provide balance. A modest amount of protein, yes, but also selenium, copper, and those all-important B vitamins that help your body turn food into usable energy. Think of mushrooms as quiet supporters. Not flashy, not demanding, but always working in the background to keep your muscles fueled and your energy steady. And here's another benefit many people overlook. Mushrooms are incredibly versatile. You can toss them into an omelet, stir them into soups, grill them like burgers, or even marinate and roast them as a main dish. They absorb flavors beautifully, so whether you like garlic, soy sauce, or just a little olive oil and salt, mushrooms adapt and turn simple meals into something nourishing and satisfying. So while mushrooms may not single-handedly meet your daily protein goal, they're an essential ally in your fight against muscle loss. They help reduce inflammation, improve metabolism, and protect overall health in ways most traditional protein foods can't. And the best part? They're just the beginning. Mushrooms open the door, but what comes next is even more powerful. The next food on our list has so much protein packed inside a single serving that it makes sardines look small by comparison. Let's talk about one of the most underrated muscle foods sitting quietly in almost every grocery store aisle: tuna. It may not look fancy, it may not cost much, but don't let the simple packaging fool you. Inside that small can is a powerhouse of nutrition that can make a real difference, especially for people over 60 who want to keep their muscles strong and steady. Here's the deal. A single can of tuna packs around 40 grams of protein. That's not a typo. 40. For perspective, that's about double what you'd get from a can of sardines. It's like comparing a little scooter to a full-sized pickup truck. Sardines can get you where you need to go, but tuna carries a much bigger load. And when your body is fighting muscle loss, that extra load matters. But here's where tuna shines even brighter. It's not just protein. It's loaded with vitamin B12 and selenium, 2 nutrients many older adults are low in without even realizing it. Why does that matter? Because protein isn't just about how much you eat. It's about how well your body can actually use it. B12 helps your body build new red blood cells, deliver oxygen to your muscles, and turn protein into usable energy. Selenium acts like a shield, protecting your muscle tissue from oxidative stress, the kind of wear and tear damage that speeds up aging. I once worked with a gentleman in his early 70s who swore he was eating plenty of protein: eggs in the morning, chicken at lunch, maybe a burger for dinner. But when we looked closer, his muscles were still shrinking, and he constantly felt fatigued. When we added tuna into his weekly routine, just a few cans spread across different meals, the change was remarkable. Within weeks, he noticed he wasn't as tired climbing the stairs, and he had more energy to play with his grandkids. The difference wasn't just the protein, it was the way tuna delivered protein plus those critical supporting nutrients his body had been missing. And the convenience? It's unbeatable. No cooking, no mess, no expensive prep. Just open the can, drain it, and you've got muscle fuel ready to go. You can toss it on a salad, mix it with a little olive oil and lemon, or spread it on whole grain crackers for a quick snack. For anyone who struggles with appetite or cooking fatigue, tuna makes it so much easier to stay consistent. And consistency, not perfection, is what truly protects your muscles as you age. Think of tuna as the quiet workhorse of your diet. It doesn't need fancy seasoning. It doesn't need hours in the kitchen. It just shows up, does its job, and gives your body the raw materials it needs to stay strong. But here's the exciting part. As impressive as tuna is, it's not the final stop. There's still a food that goes even further. A food so powerful, it helps athletes build strength at lightning speed. And yes, it can help you too. Now let's talk about a food that surprises a lot of people when it comes to muscle health: canned beef. Most of the time, when people think about beef, they picture a big steak sizzling on the grill. But what's hiding in that simple can of beef can be just as powerful, maybe even more so, because it's convenient, affordable, and packed with nutrients that aging muscles quietly crave. Here's why I call it an energy bank. Every serving of canned beef delivers not only a strong dose of protein, but also natural creatine, zinc, and carnosine. These aren't just fancy nutrition terms. They're the same compounds professional athletes rely on to push their bodies harder and recover faster. The difference is, you don't need to be lifting heavy weights in the gym to feel their benefits. Even gentle exercise, like a morning walk, climbing stairs, or doing light stretches at home, becomes more effective when your muscles are fueled with these nutrients. Let's pause on creatine for a second, because this is the hidden gem most people over 60 never hear about. Creatine isn't some artificial powder reserved for bodybuilders. It's a natural compound found in red meat, and it acts like a quick charge battery for your muscles. When you reach for a chair, climb a few steps, or carry groceries, your muscles need a burst of energy to get the job done. Creatine helps supply that burst. And studies show that when older adults get more creatine in their diet, their muscles respond better to light exercise, improving strength and reducing fatigue. I once had a patient, a retired teacher in her late 60s, who told me she had stopped gardening because she felt too weak to squat or lift soil bags. We looked at her diet and realized she rarely ate beef anymore, thinking chicken was healthier. When we added canned beef into her weekly meals just 2 or 3 times, she noticed within a month she had more stamina. She could bend, lift, and spend time in her garden again without feeling drained. It wasn't magic. It was her muscles finally getting the creatine and protein they had been missing. Then there's zinc and carnosine. Zinc helps your body repair tissue, supports immune health, and even improves appetite, something many seniors struggle with. Carnosine, on the other hand, works like a shield, protecting muscles from the tiny bits of wear and tear that add up over time. Together, they don't just keep your muscles strong, they help you feel younger, steadier, and more capable in everyday life. And the best part? Canned beef is incredibly practical. You don't need to marinate, grill, or spend hours in the kitchen. Just heat it up, toss it into a stew, mix it with some veggies, or even pair it with whole grain bread for a simple, filling meal. It's comfort food that also works like medicine for your muscles. So the next time you walk past that aisle at the grocery store, don't underestimate that humble can of beef. Think of it as your personal energy bank, always ready to give your muscles a deposit of strength whenever you need it. But here's the fun part. Not everyone wants to rely on meat forever. And if you've been curious about plant-based proteins, the next food on our list might just surprise you. When we think of foods that keep muscles strong, beans don't usually make the top of the list. They're quiet, humble, sitting on the bottom shelf at the grocery store, never demanding attention. But don't be fooled by their simplicity. Canned beans are what I like to call the silent hero for aging muscles. Here's why. Each can is loaded with plant-based protein. And while it may not sound as powerful as steak or tuna, this kind of protein has something special. It comes bundled with magnesium, potassium, And folate. That combination doesn't just feed your muscles, it protects your heart, improves circulation, and helps your body use protein more efficiently. Think of it like hiring a team of behind-the-scenes workers who keep everything running smoothly, so your muscles can do their job. Magnesium, for example, is like oil for your engine. Without it, your muscles cramp, your energy dips, and your body struggles to recover. Potassium? That's the mineral that helps your muscles contract properly and keeps your blood pressure under control. And folate is often overlooked, but it supports healthy blood cells, making sure oxygen actually gets to your muscles when you need it most. Together, they create a foundation of strength that isn't loud or flashy, but steady and reliable. Harvard researchers have even put this to the test. In a series of long-term studies, they found that older adults who ate beans regularly had up to a 30% lower risk of losing muscle mass over time. That's not a small number. Imagine 3 friends in their 70s. If they all started out the same, the one who added beans into their meals consistently would be far more likely to stay strong and independent while the others slowed down. I remember one of my patients, a 72-year-old grandfather from Texas, who used to laugh when I suggested beans. "Doc, I grew up eating chili with beans, but I thought that was poor man's food." He had been struggling with weak legs and shortness of breath, so we made a small change. Canned beans 3 or 4 times a week. Black beans in a salad, chickpeas in a stew, even pinto beans mashed onto whole grain toast. 3 months later, he told me with a grin, "I don't get winded just walking to the mailbox anymore." His strength and stamina had noticeably improved, and it wasn't some fancy supplement or expensive protein powder. It was a $1 can of beans. And the beauty of beans is how versatile they are. You don't have to soak them overnight or spend hours cooking. They're already waiting for you in the can. Just rinse, season, and add them to almost anything. Soups, tacos, stir-fries, even blended into hummus. They fit into every kitchen, every budget, and every lifestyle. So yes, beans are the quiet ones, but sometimes the quiet ones turn out to be the strongest allies. They work steadily in the background, helping your muscles, your heart, and your energy levels, meal after meal, week after week. But before you start planning your next grocery run, there's something I need to warn you about. Because even if you add sardines, tuna, beef, and beans into your diet, there's still a hidden enemy, a food you might already be eating every week, that could erase all that progress in a single meal. Now, after talking about all these powerful foods that build and protect your muscles, it's time to pull back the curtain on something that might be quietly working against you. And honestly, this one surprises a lot of people. The hidden enemy I'm talking about is instant noodles. They seem so harmless, right? Quick, cheap, comforting, a go-to meal when you don't feel like cooking. But here's the truth. Instant noodles are one of the worst choices for aging muscles. And it's not just because they lack nutrition. It's because of what's inside them. Instant noodles are packed with additives, preservatives, and a shocking amount of sodium. One serving often has more salt than your body needs in an entire day. That much sodium doesn't just affect blood pressure. It actually interferes with how your body absorbs and uses protein. So even if you eat a healthy food like tuna or beef alongside those noodles, the benefits are weakened. Your muscles don't get the fuel they need. On top of that, instant noodles are heavy in saturated fats and certain additives that trigger low-grade inflammation. And inflammation, especially in older adults, is like pouring water on the fire of muscle growth. It slows recovery, breaks down tissue faster, and leaves you feeling weaker instead of stronger. Over time, this constant cycle of poor nutrition and hidden inflammation creates the perfect storm for muscle loss. I'll share a story. One of my patients, a retired factory worker in his late 60s, loved pairing canned tuna with instant noodles. He thought it was a smart balance. Protein from the fish, comfort from the noodles. But after months of eating this way, His lab tests told a different story. His muscle mass was dropping, his energy was low, and his blood sugar was climbing. He was doing part of the right thing, eating tuna, but the noodles were quietly undoing all that good work. The good news is, the fix doesn't mean giving up convenience or comfort. It's about swapping the enemy for an ally. Instead of instant noodles, go for whole grains. Things like brown rice, quinoa, or whole grain pasta. These give you complex carbs that provide steady energy plus extra fiber, vitamins, and minerals your muscles need. They don't block protein absorption. In fact, they make it easier for your body to actually use the protein you've worked so hard to eat. Think of it like this. Instant noodles are a flashy decoy. They fill you up quickly but leave your muscles empty. Whole grains, on the other hand, are like a strong foundation. They may not feel as exciting in the moment, but they quietly fuel your muscles and your heart every single day. So here's the simple truth. If you can cut out instant noodles and replace them with nutrient-rich grains, the change in your body can be dramatic. I've seen people notice stronger legs, better energy, and even clearer thinking in just a few weeks. And that's the secret most people miss. Sometimes, building muscle isn't just about adding the right foods. It's about removing the silent enemies that undo your progress. Sometimes it's not the knowledge that holds us back, it's the question. Okay, but what do I actually eat? So let me paint a simple picture of what one day could look like if you want to protect your muscles, keep your energy steady, and still enjoy your food. Let's start with breakfast. Imagine beginning your morning with a plate of scrambled eggs and sautéed mushrooms. Nothing fancy, nothing complicated. Just a couple of eggs cooked the way you like them, with mushrooms lightly browned in olive oil. The eggs give you high-quality protein to start your day strong, while the mushrooms add antioxidants, B vitamins, and minerals that calm inflammation and boost energy. It's warm, filling, and sets the tone for the hours ahead. Now let's move to lunch. Here's where convenience meets power. A canned bean salad with tuna on top. You just open a can of chickpeas or black beans, rinse them off, toss in some olive oil, lemon juice, maybe a little garlic or chopped onion if you like. Then add a serving of tuna right from the can. Together, that's around 40 grams of protein plus fiber, magnesium, and potassium to support both your muscles and your heart. And it doesn't take more than 5 minutes to prepare. It's one of those meals that proves eating for strength doesn't have to be complicated or expensive. For dinner, let's go with something hearty. Canned beef stew with vegetables and a side of whole grains. Take lean canned beef, simmer it with carrots, onions, maybe a little tomato, and serve it alongside quinoa or brown rice. Here's why this works so well. Beef brings not only protein but also creatine and zinc, which help your muscles respond better to exercise, even light movement like walking or lifting groceries. Pairing it with whole grains balances the meal with steady energy and extra fiber, keeping your body fueled through the night. And there's one more piece people often forget: hydration. Water might not seem exciting, but muscles are like sponges. They can't function without enough fluid. Staying hydrated helps every bite of protein do its job. And here's a little bonus tip. If you can, include omega-3s in your daily routine. It could be from fatty fish like salmon, a small handful of walnuts, or even a high-quality supplement. Omega-3s make your muscles more sensitive to protein, meaning you get more benefit from every gram you eat. Put it all together, and what you have is not just a menu, but a strategy. A way of eating that doesn't overwhelm you with complicated recipes or long shopping lists. Just everyday foods, easy to prepare, that quietly work in your favor meal after meal. The beauty of this plan is how flexible it is. Don't like tuna? Swap it for salmon or chicken. Not a fan of beef? Try lentils with quinoa. The goal isn't perfection. It's consistency. Every time you choose one of these meals, you're casting a vote for stronger muscles, more energy, and a healthier future. And when you string those choices together day after day, the results can be surprisingly powerful. Stronger legs, better balance, more confidence in your own body. All from meals that feel familiar, satisfying, and doable. You know, at the end of the day, it's not about memorizing a list of 4 foods or trying to be perfect with your meals. What I really want you to hold on to is this simple truth. Your muscles are the key to how long you stay strong, independent, and free. When you protect them, you protect your freedom. The ability to walk, to carry your groceries, to play with your grandkids, to get out of bed without help. When muscle is lost, it's not just strength that disappears, it's pieces of your life that slip away. And I don't want that for you. That's why even the smallest step matters. You don't need to change everything overnight. Maybe tomorrow you add a can of tuna to your salad or toss a handful of beans into your soup. That single choice might not feel big in the moment, but give it a month. Your body will notice. More energy, steadier strength, and the quiet confidence that you're moving in the right direction. Think of it like planting seeds. Each time you choose one of these muscle-friendly foods, you're planting a seed for the future, for stronger legs, for better balance, for a life where you call the shots instead of letting weakness or fatigue decide for you. So here's my challenge for you. Start small. Start today. Pick one food, one change, and make it yours. Don't wait for the perfect time because the perfect time is right now. Your muscles are waiting, your future self is waiting, and trust me, a month from now, you'll be so glad you started.